In this video, we are going to walk through deploying Shield Stratus in Azure. Let's look at the internals of how Shield Stratus protects resources in an Azure environment. Shield Stratus functions as a transparent filter to the network. All traffic passing through a deployed gateway load balancer gets forwarded to Shield Stratus, where it inspects TCP, UDP, and DNS requests and makes reputational-based risk decisions as to whether to allow the traffic or not. There are multiple Shield Stratus Azure ARM templates tailored to your deployment needs. In this example, we will choose option 3, deploying Shield Stratus in a fresh VNet with optional public and private worker nodes. The ARM template depicted here will deploy all of the resources highlighted in yellow: a new VNet within the specified resource group, a security subnet that contains a gateway load balancer, a filter subnet that contains the Shield Stratus VM, and optionally a public worker node with a public IP address in the worker subnet. This might serve as a standalone web server. To this, you can add your own workloads. The gateway load balancer will forward both the inbound and outbound traffic from the worker to the Shield Stratus instance for monitoring and protection. Alternatively, this template can deploy private resources as well, though this scenario becomes more complex. To protect private workloads, we must also deploy an edge public load balancer that handles inbound traffic to the worker. But then we also need an outbound load balancer to monitor and protect outbound traffic. This mode of the template deploys the private worker subnet with a private worker, a security subnet with the edge public load balancer, an outbound load balancer working in tandem with a gateway load balancer, which forwards traffic to the filter subnet running the Shield Stratus VM. Now let's walk through how to deploy this ARM template in Azure. Here we are at the Shield Stratus Azure Marketplace page. From the Plan section, we're going to select the ARM template config 3 for the new standalone VNet. On the Basic screen, we will specify the Azure subscription in which to deploy, followed by the resource group. In this instance, I will create a new resource group called RG Shield Stratus. On the Compute screen, we specify the name of the VM and the VM size. Additionally, we can specify the admin username, which will be provisioned on the worker VMs, as well as paste in your public SSH key that will allow passwordless logins. On the network screen, we can select the names and IP addresses of the various security, filter, and worker subnets. In this example, we will leave these all at the default values. On the optional component screen, we can choose whether to deploy public or private worker VMs. These are just used for example purposes and are not required for the operation of Shield Stratus. On the onboarding and log screen, we specify the email address which will receive the activation email. We also specify the name we want the device to display as in the Intrusion command hub. On the Advanced screen, we can configure the TCP and UDP ports for communication between the gateway load balancer and Stratus VM, but we will leave these at the default values. On the Security and Logging screen, we specify the name of the key vault that will be created to store the Stratus keys. Finally, we are presented with the Review and Create screen, which does a pre-deployment check of the resources that will be created by the template. Next, we hit Create. We are shown the ARM template deployment screen, which shows the list of resources being provisioned. After a few minutes, the deployment is complete. Shortly thereafter, we should receive an activation email to the email address specified. The email contains an activation link for registering a new user account with the Intrusion command hub, which in turn will activate the Shield Stratus VM. When we click the activation link, it takes us to a landing page where we can create a new user account for the Intrusion command. Now we can click Activate to create the account. Success! We can now log into the Intrusion command. Next, we will navigate to the command hub at hub.intrusion.com and log in with a newly created user. This takes us to the executive summary page. We haven't driven network traffic to our cloud instance yet, so the counters are at 0, but these will start populating within the first hour. We can manage the Shield Stratus instance by clicking on the Devices menu. Then, from the Devices drop-down, select Shield Stratus. Here we see the instance created by the ARM template. We can administer the device, such as changing the mode from Observe to Protect, and also performing software upgrades. Click on the Traffic menu to see the detailed list of traffic flows observed by Shield Stratus. From this screen, we can drill down into both allowed and blocked traffic. And we can filter traffic based on a variety of selectors, such as protocol, port, country, and IP. With this knowledge, you should be able to provision, deploy, activate, and manage your Shield Stratus instance, giving you full visibility to network traffic in your Azure cloud workloads.